It's just fantastic.
Owing to me vanishing for a couple days to go to Norwich, I'm going to do a follow-up video on Mamamax, because more has come to light, and it really doesn't help Mamamax in the slightest. If anything, it makes the situation so much worse for Mamamax. Any legitimacy they have is being undone by their own shenanigans, their own unprofessionalism, under the guise of, but I'm doing it for the children. Won't someone please think of the children? There are no bad targets, but there are many bad tactics, and you are employing every bad tactic on targets that could be argued to be easy if you bother to use the legal methods available to you. You are the second creator I have called out in the past 12 months who has done crime-related content to call out injustice. But whereas you differ from the person from not providing any evidence to support your assertions, the other person did it and put it behind a paywall, pictures that should never be seen. If you know who I'm talking about, great. If you don't, the video is linked in the pinned comment with today's sources. If you didn't watch the first video I made last week, that's quite alright as well, it'll be linked down below. Essentially, Mamamax done goof and has admitted to having essentially sensationalized for clicks, all the while using rather odd editing styles, Saw-esque, Billy the Puppet, Tobin Bell voice-ish actions in videos as a call to action, in fact, to try and get massive YouTubers on their side, like they did in the past calling YouTube out, but this time to call out because of a particular individual that I had never heard of. And I'm not saying they're innocent by any stretch of the imagination, I know nothing of them, but I will presume innocence until proven guilty. And in doing so, admitted they're willing to dox, but it's not a dox, even though it is a dox. They have been willing to weaponize their audience and in turn weaponize other creators' audiences to get their message out there, because they believe in guilt before innocence, or because they have the information, but that's it. They haven't given us the information, they've not provided anything to verify any of their claims, so they are assertions. This is how messy, how mucked up this entire situation is. It is quite frankly embarrassing at this point. Mamamax has undone so much of what they can consider to be their own hard work through their own arrogance and pride, being so full of themselves and making really weird videos to get the message across, using QR codes with DMs to provide little tantalizing bits of information to make it more interactive as content, which I fully understand. A comment section usually does it well on its own. You don't really need to get people to then go get their phone out and have a look on the screen, because many people view this content on their phone in the first place. Since that video, the one I made last week, came out, more has come to light and I'm getting really irritated by it, because none of it makes them look remotely good. It almost makes it irredeemable, because I can't imagine how they're going to pull this one back. If you as a creator make a career out of calling out these kind of people, the kind that might, and I say might because we're not certain yet, you've yet to show the proof, be very inappropriate to a lot of people. Yes, I'm choosing these words carefully because of YouTube, but you, the creator calling it out, do not successfully manage to get anything done, you do not prove anything, and all you do is bleat on about how we all need to weaponize our audiences to deal with this problem, with nothing to confirm it. You are essentially a fraud, a grifter, a con artist. That is what you come across as. Teasing your audience for over 5 months with nothing to verify what you claim to be fact. Using podcasts that are very long. No one's going to watch a 4-hour podcast, by the way, talk about somebody they do not know anything about, no matter how big your audience is, to set up this massive documentary that's not even published, and then you go in on, for example, Moist Critical, because you called him out so many times in DMs on Discord servers and everywhere else to try and get him to help you. Because what's the point of having such a large audience if you're not willing to help a player out? This just comes across as somebody e-begging for views, for clicks, for class and attention. Now, I can't imagine you make too much money from your videos in the first place. This kind of content typically gets demonetized, so it would be argued you do it to get additional patrons. But your patrons are hardly impressed because you haven't released much content and you still haven't released the video on the very person you've been calling out for 5 months. So perhaps after my little TED talk, and I do apologize for that, we should talk about what has been happening since, well, Friday.
I could literally cancel you, Charlie. I could literally cancel you And I choose not to. It's true, though. It's the truth. Like, I'm the friggin' hunter.
It does not matter who you are on YouTube. It really doesn't. Because you, as a hunter of the PDF file variety, have accomplished nothing. So, if you're that kind of hunter, what are your credentials? Because you've not done anything of note to actually get anything done. Threatening to cancel, or saying you could cancel someone like Charlie, is laughable at this point. At best, you'd sow some seeds of doubt. It would be debunked in 5 minutes. A small amount, a modicum in fact, of critical thought will be applied, and even the court of public opinion, the casuals, will notice and go, oh, shut up. Your credibility is even more shot at that point, but we're not done. There's a part 2 to this.
I clicked this video because I thought he was talking about me. Are you okay? Are you sure?
Why do I do this to me?
Because I get it. Like, I get what I'm doing is creepy and obsessive. It is. But I promised them I would not let them down, and I will not.
I, as a individual, can fully understand, respect, and appreciate the importance of maintaining one's integrity. But what you have done in 5 months has accomplished nothing. You are now on the receiving end of a lot of criticism, as is Spencer, in fact, for how you are handling the situation under the guise of you are doing it for the victims, to try and get more of them to come forward, to speak up, be heard, so you can get them, use them, make your videos to deal with the vampire god cult guy, whose name is so memorable I've already forgotten it. Some ordinary gamer, Mutaha, had retweeted Vince Vintage, who had tweeted out those 2 videos you saw, by saying, my god, he's effing unhinged, that being a direct reference to Mamamax. Chris the Narc had tweeted out, Max is so effed, Nexpo has come forward, it's never been so over. Nexpo's statement on Max. I'd like to address something many of you may be wondering since we have so much audience overlap. There's a situation that's been unfolding lately regarding Mamamax and some very unethical practices he's been employing in his latest video subject. I'd like to on the record state that I fully disavow everything he's doing. The situation with him has admittedly been an absolute mess, and I've tried to give him advice on how to navigate through it properly, yet it's gone ignored at every turn. I've since cut ties with Max completely, someone who I thought I knew and once considered a friend. Unfortunately isn't who I thought he was at all, and it's effing heartbreaking, but it is what it is. I cannot stand by someone who acts the way he does, while handling such a delicate situation without any sense of tact. I'm quite frankly embarrassed I ever stood up for him in the past, and while I can't take that part back, I can at least move forward with this. To any of you affected by my friendship with and support of Max in the past, I sincerely apologize. I typically am better than this at vetting who I associate with. However, I feel like I've never really known Max at all. From Ryan. Jessica Pizzle had retweeted Peepaw Riverter, who had tweeted, was asked to post this since the author doesn't have Twitter Blue. So here you go to someone called Maggot Edits. Jessica Pizzle had retweeted by saying, no one should go to Slug and here is why. 0. Credibility. 0. Trustworthiness. 0. Ethics. 4. Massive history of false allegations, which will ruin any credibility you may have if he is working with you. History of malicious doxing, history of malicious harassment. You can't trust your private information with him, as if you cross him, he will use it against you. The video is of Slug. Slug is basically, well, dunking on one person to try and get them to go to him instead. I highly recommend if you have had a crime committed against you, please don't go to creators. They will not help you. They might say they will, but really, they're only going to make their videos and that will raise awareness and totally be on your side and help you. No, helping you will be going to the police and having this done properly. Of course, if there is an international aspect legally, that is another river you need to cross with legal guidance, not with some YouTuber who clearly doesn't stand up for you. And no, I'm not going to play the video of Slug's audio. I just want you to see it on the screen that this is an individual who is pouncing on this to capitalize, as many would say, to take advantage of you, the potential victims. While we're on the subject of Slug, I did notice Nick Diorio tweeted out, Max's former editor is claiming that Max used AI to script his videos, which is actually a theory a number of people have had. Slug had posted, I am effing disgusted with Max being a brain-dead moron who mixes fact with fiction when he is criticized, he either uses the survivors as meat shields or he will say he is changing and never changes, and him claiming everything he makes is fiction annoyed me. Let's go with that. I worked on your effing videos, and throughout our call, you wanted everything to be factual. You wanted me to disregard the fact that you used AI for your script. You defended it thinking it'll be the next best thing. Little bro, I even offered to write your script because the script was ass. Slug had also made a video, which I showed you bits of, with the person who had edited the video, indicating that Slug is not trustworthy. It is of course up to you as to whether or not they are a trustworthy source or not. Based on what I've seen so far, I don't think anyone's trustworthy at the moment. Snaggles BSC had tweeted, breaking. New messages have surfaced from the Mamamax Survivor Discord server, showing that Spencer and Max are conspiring to sue Muta just so more exposure can be put onto Camden, Camden being the vampire they are after. Here are on the screen images of those Discord messages. If you'd like to read it all, which is all quite cringe, pause the video and you will then be able to enjoy a rather pathetic cringe-ass attempt at seeming like you're more important than you really are, or you can accomplish more than you really can accomplish by going after Muta, who called you out for your shenanigans. On the Mamamax fan club Reddit, it was pointed out that the GoFundMe that Mamamax had set up to deal with Camden had been nuked, and the top comment, after it being first backed with $9,777,000 by Mamamax himself, it was such a weird thing to add to this whole situation. The last archived screenshot of that is this image here, where yes, Max Striker had actually raised themselves nearly 10 grand by themselves. It clearly didn't resonate with anyone. I wonder why. This looks really dumb when you consider these kind of fundraisers only really benefit GoFundMe, who take a cut of the action. So Max is out of pocket a fair chunk of the money they put forward in the first place. No lie, the Discord server where the threats of lawsuit are against Muta, the server themselves are saying, please don't do this, Max, stop. Because you are not helping the victims. You believe, now in a form of benevolent virtue of your own design, that you hold the power to act on their behalf in their interest, when they, the survivors on your server apparently, and supporters of your work, are telling you stop it. How full of yourself are you that you think you can go beyond your reach to do what should not be done? I mentioned the tactics, remember, being bad? This is further proof of it. Muta's not afraid of you, and nor is anyone else for that matter. I'll add to this that you are now going after channels that cover this. For example, whoever is in this server and leaking, you are literally putting our damn lives in danger just to boost your egos. We are not making this up for the love of God. No one is saying you're making anything up, just to be clear. Individual who I have now masked your face on as well. No one thinks that. What people are worried about is what Max is doing, weaponizing the internet to try and get this across the line, while giving us nothing to confirm anything, while also being proven now by those that have worked for you as nothing more than a loser, a liar, a grifter, a con artist. Max themselves sending to YouTube right now, also referencing Slug. My view will remain the same. Don't be a flagger. If you don't like what they say, perhaps don't be such a disingenuous hack, and don't think you can act on behalf of all the victims when they themselves in other DMs, when you threatened lawsuits for millions to raise awareness you can do this, have told you to stop. Now, since this has all happened, Mamamax has continued to hemorrhage subscribers. Because, shocker, so what has Mamamax done to help themselves? Well, they started by doing the internet boomer thing of privating, not deleting, their videos, covering Camden Gerard Davis, the vampire god cult guy. As we've covered some of that, and I still have the accountability video saved, as others have the links of it in fact, I don't think Mamamax realizes just how dumb a move this is, unless they intend to use this now as the publicity stunt that drew everyone in to then release the video to exonerate themselves. But the reality is, we've all seen the videos, and so nothing is exonerated. Nick Diorio has aptly described this entire situation by saying the Discord server leak has been catastrophic for Max. Those girls put their trust in Max and weren't ready to participate in content or reveal their names. Now those same people have been completely thrust into the spotlight, unceremoniously. It's actually really sad. Like, there are people who were previously anonymous who seem against Spencer and Max pushing lawsuits, and some who whistle blew privately. Now because Max is a negligent jackass, they are getting crap for this. He's a really nasty, disgusting individual, and I couldn't agree more. How little do you actually care for the victims under the guise of, but there are more victims, that you willingly throw some under the bus because you want the majority. It is remarkably selfish. It is negligent, and this is why this type of content is really bad on YouTube. It accomplished nothing. If anything, it just added more harm to what they've already endured, and they have suffered enough. Nick Diorio also published some DMs he had with Mamamax back on January the 8th to further cement the position that Nick holds. It's one I agree with about not putting allegations out there or platforming those with allegations without hard evidence first. Because it is vitally important, if you're going to make an allegation, you have something to back it up. So I'm going to read that to you. From Mamamax. Hey Nick, I'm just catching wind of your newest stream. I'd like to formally request an opportunity to platform the survivors about their story and even their thoughts on the drama. I don't even have to participate, I just want their voices to be heard. Reply. I'm confused. Do you want me to bring them on? Mamamax. That is correct. Reply. Max, everything I say to you here will remain private because I'm not trying to make the situation any harder for you or inject myself into the actual content, but you need to get these girls help the internet can't provide. Find a journalist, get them a good lawyer, and set them up for success, please. I think you are wildly in over your head on something you haven't experienced before, and I don't want to contribute further to it. I've been watching everything publicly for 10 hours across 2 streams and my head is spinning trying to piece this together. I can't imagine how difficult this is behind the scenes if I chose to continue believing you have everyone's best interest at heart and this was a series of missteps. Mamamax. We have been actively contacting journalists and are consulting with multiple lawyers. The internet has been the sole source of assistance for them to date. Just to confirm, are you declining to provide a platform for these survivors? Reply. Yeah man, I am declining, and I'm moving on from this subject. You have my permission to tell people that. I wish them nothing but the best and I hope they find justice against those who wronged them. My platform is no place to have that discussion. I am an entertainer and not equipped to take that responsibility on. It's far outside of something I could handle and do a good job at. Also, by the way, I hope you personally take my frustration and complaints as a wake-up call about how effed this whole thing is, instead of just seeing me being loud and pissy as a direct attack. If your tactic as a YouTuber when you do not get your own way is to threaten other YouTubers for not getting your own way and having them help you promote something you have not given any concrete evidence to support, platform people that you claim are one thing but have nothing to be released in real time to support all allegations, you are nothing more than a glorified bully and grifter. Of course, it doesn't help when you put some of your videos behind a paywall. That doesn't help the allegation in the slightest of grifting now, does it? By using the threat of legal action against bigger YouTubers, you are using it as a way of promoting yourself and your content, not just to drive up the interest in the subject itself, which is being completely lost in favor of your crappy tactics, but you also show that you are willing to sink to a level many are not. There are rules many of us abide, and of course when we want to help people we will do as much as we can, but there has to be a baseline of ethics, and you are willing to disregard those ethics for what you believe is the right thing. When you show you're willing to sink to that level to get the result, you show yourself as nothing more than the villain, because that's what typical villains do. I have a feeling more of this is going to unfold before the video is even released, with all the victims giving their side of events and all the evidence published, so do expect further updates in the future.